In this Blender tutorial, I'll show you how to create this procedural clay pot material. And then after we create the procedural material, I'll show you how to join it together into this custom node group. Now also, if I zoom into this clay pot material, you can see there are some little lines going horizontally along the material. And I wanted to add that effect because when someone is making a clay pot by hand using a potter's wheel, the piece of clay spins around really fast, creating these little lines in the texture. So that's a small detail that I added to this material. So the custom node group has some different customizable settings, so you can change the scale of the entire material. Then you can just change the texture of those lines there so the lines scale. And then there's also a dirt scale, so there is a little bit of dirt along the surface. Then you can change the clay color 1, and then you can also change the clay color 2. And then we also have the dirt color, so there is a little layer of dirt over the surface of the material. You can change the dirt color there. Then we also have the lines distortion, so if you want them to be distorted and less straight, you can change that. Then we also have the dirt amount, so you can turn this up if you want it to look more dirty. And then we have the roughness of the material. And then we also have the lines bump strength, so there's the texture of those horizontal lines. And then we also just have the noise bump strength. Now also, sometimes clay pots have a glaze, a painted glaze, which is over the object. And so there's this glaze amount here, so you can turn the glaze up. And so this is going to add kind of that shiny layer, and it looks like it's been painted with this clear finish or glaze. And then there's also this glaze roughness, so you can make it more rough or more shiny if you want to. And if you'd like to purchase this procedural material and help support the channel, you can get that on my Gumroad store and my Patreon page with the links in the description. And you can also purchase my Ultimate Blender Procedural Material Pack if you'd like to get access to all of my procedural materials and get updates with my future materials. You can also purchase my procedural material packs, which are packs of 10 materials, and you can also get any of my materials individually on my Gumroad store. And to learn how to create any of my procedural materials, you can check out my Blender Procedural Material tutorial playlist. And then one more thing before we start, I wanted to let you know about a really great Blender add-on for easy texture baking. Auto Bake is a really great Blender add-on for easy texture baking. Select the object that you want to bake, and then you can add any of the texture maps in the bake list. You can then change many of the settings like the name of the texture resolution, and where you want the add-on to export the textures. Then just hit the Auto Bake button and the add-on will automatically texture bake all the textures and save them as files on your computer. You can find my full add-on review video with the link in the description, and if you purchase the add-on through my affiliate link, you'll be helping to support this channel. So real quick, I'll show you what I have set up in the 3D viewport if you want to set up the blend file the same way that I have. So I went to the add menu and I went to mesh and I added an icosphere, and right behind me on the add icosphere settings, I turned the subdivisions up to 6 so it is nice and smooth and round, and I used the object context menu to shade it smooth. Then I scaled the object down by about a 0.3, and then I pressed Ctrl A and just applied the scale. Now I also wanted to preview this material on a clay pot and a clay vase, so I modeled these two objects here. So these objects were both very easy to model. I basically just added a circle and I extruded the circle up and scaled out the extrusion and then scaled it back in and just created the basic shape. And I did that for this vase here, and then also did the same exact thing for the pot, just extruding the edges and then scaling it up and down to create the shape. And then after I modeled the basic shape of these objects, I added a solidify modifier to give them some thickness. And then I also added a subdivision surface modifier to smooth them out. Then I also added a camera, and I just pointed the camera at the object. And if you select the camera and you go to the object data properties of the camera, I turn the focal length to 80 just because it kind of zooms the camera in a bit and make things look a bit more flat, and I kind of like that better. Now as for the lighting, I added these two different area lights right here. So this first one is adding light from the top, and I set the power to 40, and then this other one here is kind of on the side, and I set the power to 100. And this will help to give some nice lighting. And also right over here on the world properties, I added in this Machine Shop 02 1K HDRI from Polyhaven, and I'll have the link in the description if you'd like to download it. And I downloaded the 1K version and the HDR version. So once you download the HDRI, you can click on the yellow dot next to color, and you can choose environment texture, and then just click on the open button and open up the HDRI. And I turned the strength of the HDRI down to 0.4 so it wasn't quite as bright. And then also here on the render properties, down here on the color management, I set the view transform to filmic and the look to very high contrast to make the colors more contrasted and saturated. And then also here on the film tab, I checkmarked the transparent button, and that way the background is transparent so it's not quite as distracting, but it'll still light the 3D scene. Alright, so I am in the shading workspace. So I have the 3D viewport right over here. I'm going to go into the camera view and go into the rendered viewport mode. And then I can select one of the objects. I'll click on new to add a new material. And I can just call this material clay pot. And then I will just add the same material to the other objects so they all have the same material. And then I'm also going to be using the Node Wrangler add-on to preview the different nodes. So to enable the Node Wrangler, you can click on Edit, you can go to the Preferences, and here in the Add-ons tab, you can search for Node and just enable the Node Wrangler add-on so it's built in a Blender, and I'll show you how to use it in the video. So I'm going to start off by adding a texture for the dirt. So I'll go to the add menu and we're going to search for a noise texture. Let's drop it here. And then to use the feature of the Node Wrangler, you can hold down the Control and Shift key and select different nodes to preview them. And with the noise texture selected, let's press Control T to add the texture, coordinate, and mapping nodes. Now you can see here on some of these objects, the noise looks slightly stretched. So I'm going to use the object coordinates and put that into the vector instead. And the object coordinates are going to place the procedural texture on the object more evenly. And then let's change some of the settings of the noise texture. So I'll turn the scale to 10, I'll turn the detail to the max of 15, and I'll turn the roughness up to like a 0.55 so it has more detail. And then if I turn up this lacunarity value, it's going to add a bunch of little dots to the texture. So I'm going to turn this up to a 3.1, so there are a little bit of those dots. Now let's drag the texture, coordinate, and mapping back, and I want to add another noise texture up here. So I'll go to the add menu, we can search for a noise texture and drop it up here, and we're going to use this noise texture to create those waves or those lines which are going back and forth. But we're going to be mixing it also with a wave texture. First, let's take the mapping vector and put that into the vector of the noise texture, and I can Control Shift and select it to preview it. So then what I want to do to make it look noisy but also have the lines is to go to the add menu and search for a wave texture. And we're going to put this wave texture between the mapping and the noise. So now we can change both of the settings, the wave and the noise. So on the wave texture here, I'm going to change the X to Z instead, and this way the lines are going to be going around in a circle. Then I'll change the scale to 4. I'm going to turn the distortion to 1 so it's a little bit random, and I'll turn the detail to the maximum of 15, and then I'll leave the other settings how they are. But then on the noise texture, we can use this to also make it look more noisy. So I'm going to turn this scale to a 0.3, so it's pretty small, but then I'll turn the detail to the max of 15, and you can already see it's looking a bit more detailed, and I'll also turn this roughness value to a 0.7, and I'll leave those settings how they are. So now you can see that we have these little lines there, but they're a little bit lumpy and bumpy, and they kind of go up and down. They're a little bit random and a bit noisy. So I now want to create the custom colors for this material. So I'll go to the add menu and we're going to search for a mix color. We'll put this here after this top noise texture. Now the factor can go into the factor value. So now here on color A and color B, we can make the two colors. So for color A, I'm going to make this kind of like a bright peachy kind of tannish color, kind of like a light brown. And then color B, this is going to be also a light brown, but a little bit darker. And if you want to use the same exact colors that I'm using, you can use the same hex values. So color A is going to be a hex value of E2, 8C65, and color B is going to be a hex value of AA, 6448. And then what I also want to do is mix in the dirt. So we're going to select this mix and I'll press Shift D to duplicate it and drop it here after the first one. Now this noise texture factor can go into the factor. So we're adding this dirt texture on top. And then I just want to add the dark values of this noise texture because I just want to add those little darker parts there on top of the other texture. So on the mix type here, we can change this to darken, and darken will now just add those dark values. So now color B is going to be the actual color for the dirt. So you can see if I make it darker, you're able to see it better. So I'm just going to make it kind of like a dark brown color. And the hex value that I'll be using for color B here, the dirt color, is going to be 4A3022. Now later on in the custom node group, I want to be able to control the amount of dirt. So I'll go to the add menu and I'm going to add a hue saturation value. And I'll put this between the noise and the darken. So now this value here, if I drag this up and down, it's going to make it lighter or darker. And so that will in turn add more dirt or less dirt. So we'll use that later in the custom node group. So then I want to take this darken result and I want to put that into the base color, and I can Control Shift and select the principled shader to preview it. And I also also want to turn the roughness down a little bit to like a 0.4 so it's a little bit more shiny. So it's very smooth right now, and so I want to add some surface bump. So I'll go to the add menu and I'm going to search for a bump node. We'll use the bump node to convert the texture data into bump data. So the first one that I want to add is this top noise here. So let's plug the top noise factor into the normal, but then to convert it to proper normal data, we're going to take the bump node and we're going to put it in between the noise and the normal. And I can stick it down here. We want the noise texture factor to be going into the height value. So now you can see it looks super bumpy, but that is way too strong. So I'm going to turn this value down to like a 0.06. So it's less bumpy. Then I also want to add the noise onto the surface. So we'll take this bump and I'll press Shift-D to duplicate it and drop it here after the first one. So I can now take this noise texture factor and I'll put that into the height value. And this way we can mix multiple bump maps together. But then this bump strength, I'm going to turn to like a 0.1. If I drag it up stronger, you can kind of see what it's doing. So it's just some surface bump. I'm just going to leave it at a small number of 0.1. Now also we can go here to the coat. We can open up the clear coat, and the clear coat, we can turn this up to add kind of that glaze effect. So you can see if I turn this way up, it looks super shiny on the surface, and then there's also a roughness value. Now the problem with this is that the shininess doesn't have any surface bump, and that just doesn't really look right because the surface looks bumpy. So to fix this, we're going to take this last bump normal, and we're going to put that into the normal of the clear coat. So now the clear coat is really shiny, but it has the same surface bump. So the weight value is going to add more of the clear coat or less of it. And then of course there's the roughness value. So I'm going to leave the clear coat to 0 because I don't want it on default, but you could turn it up if you want it. And this roughness here, I like a value of 0.2. I think 0.2 is pretty good. So that is it for the procedural material. So I'll now show you how to join it together into a custom node group. So I'll click and drag here to box select all the nodes except the material output, and I'll press Ctrl G to join it together into a node group. Now if you press the N key to open up the side panel and go to the group tab, I want to rename this shader here to shader instead of BSDF. So if you hit the tab key to go outside of the node group, you can see it's called shader now instead of BSDF. So I'll drag the node here, let's drag it out bigger, and then I can also rename the node group to Clay Pot. So let's hit the tab key to go back into the node group. And if we go over here, we have this group input, and we can plug values up to the group input to control them outside of the node group. So I'm going to take the scale from the mapping and put that into the group input, put that right in there. And then if I click on the scale, I want to just make it 1 value instead of 3. So we're going to change this type to float instead. And then the default value, we're going to turn to 1. And if we go outside of the node group, we want to turn this scale back to 1. Let's go back into the node group. Then I want to control the line scale, so we'll drag this scale over here, and the wave texture scale can be used to change the lines. So we'll put the scale into the extra socket, and let's click right here to rename it, and I'll rename it to line scale. Then I want to control the dirt scale, so we're going to take this noise texture scale, we'll put that into the extra socket, and I'll just rename this to dirt scale. Then I want to control the colors, so we're going to drag the group input right up here, and we're going to put color A into the extra socket and color B into the extra socket. And these ones I'm going to rename to clay color 1, and then the other one here will be clay color 2. And then here on this darken, this is the dirt color, so we'll put B into the extra socket, and I can rename this to dirt color. And then also I want to be able to control the line's distortion. So we'll drag the group input back here, and on the wave texture, we're going to put the distortion in the extra socket, and I'll rename this to lines distortion. Then I want to control the dirt amount. So we can take the hue saturation value. We're going to put the value into the extra socket there, and I can rename this to dirt amount. And then I want to control the roughness and the bump strength, so we'll drag this down here. Let's put the roughness from the principled shader into the extra socket, and then let's take this first bump, we'll put that into the extra socket, and the second one, this one's going to be the noise, so we'll put that one into the extra socket, and we're going to rename these. So this one is going to be lines bump strength, and then this other one here is going to be the noise bump strength. Then I want to control the glaze. So on this coat weight here, we can put this into the extra socket. And then right here, I can double click on this and I can rename this to glaze amount. And then I also want to control the glaze roughness. So we'll put this roughness here into the extra socket. And instead of coat roughness, I'm going to rename it to glaze roughness. All right, so I'll bring the group input back over here. I'll hit the N key to close the side panel, and I'll hit the tab key to go outside of the node group. And let's just review the final material. So we have the overall scale of the material, and we just have the line scale, and we just have the dirt scale. We also have the different clay colors, so clay colors 1 and 2, and then we also have that dirt color. Then we also have the lines distortion, we also have the dirt amount, and we have the roughness of the material. Then we have the lines bump strength and the noise bump strength, and then also that glaze amount if you want to look like it has kind of a glaze or a finish on it, and then also the glaze roughness. So that'll wrap it up for this tutorial, so I hope you enjoyed this and thank you for watching. And if you'd like to purchase this finished procedural material, you can get that on my Gumroad store in my Patreon page, the links are in the description. And you can also purchase all of my procedural materials by checking out my Ultimate Blender Procedural Material Pack, which comes with all of my materials, pre-set up for Blender's asset browser with custom thumbnails, sorted catalogs, and customizable node groups. You can also purchase any of my materials individually on my Gumroad store. And to learn how to create any of my procedural materials, you can check out my Blender Procedural Material tutorial playlist. Links are all in the description. But I hope you enjoyed this, and thanks for watching.